what's up guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Vlogmas video. A few people in the comments have asked me about work-life balance in software engineering, so this is the topic of today's video and I will share my personal thoughts and experience. So these are my thoughts and experience after being in the industry for a bit over a year and doing about 12 months of internships in different companies including Amazon. I'm not saying that this is universally true for everyone. I'm sure other people have different thoughts and different experiences. These are just my opinions. Disclaimers out of the way, let's get into it. I'll start by saying that work-life balance for me is extremely important. I've always considered myself a hardworking person. I've always enjoyed working hard and applying myself 100% in whatever I'm doing. I don't consider myself a workaholic. For me, having time for your family and for your personal life is just as important. And as much as I love coding, and I really do, trust me, I don't want that to be my entire life. I don't want my job to be my entire life, and I know that there are people who are okay with that, and that's also perfectly fine. That's their choice, but that wouldn't be my choice. Personal time is just as important as your job. And the thing is, I love coding, but I already spent 40-45 hours a week doing that, and there's so many other things that I also love doing. I don't normally code a whole lot in my personal time. I still do like lead code questions every now and then because those are kind of fun to do. It's kind of like doing Sudoku puzzles. So I do enjoy doing some coding in my spare time, but the majority of my spare time I do not spend coding because I don't want to. Again, I love coding, I love programming, but I love other things, and there's nothing else that I spend 40-45 hours doing in my life apart from sleeping. Coding already takes a very good chunk of my time, and the rest of the time that I have outside of work I'd like to spend otherwise. I know there are people who do programming as a hobby as well, and that's perfectly fine. Again, at some point I'd like to do some cool personal project as well, but I don't want that to be the status quo in my life in general. Life is so versatile and there's so much that life has to offer that focusing on just one aspect of it to me is not taking full advantage of everything that you could be doing. Also, I don't necessarily consider it healthy because coding usually implies sitting, staring at the screen all the time, things that are not necessarily healthy. The point is, my life is not 100% programming, and I don't think it ever will be. With that being said, there are many companies out there. The big ones have many teams, and your work-life balance would depend a lot on the culture of the company and the culture of the team. The key is finding the right team, the right company for you. Unfortunately, you might not always be able to get it right the first time. Oftentimes when you're interviewing, you try to do your research as much as possible and you always try your best to find the right team for you, but you never know. Until you try it, you don't know what it's gonna be like. I can say for sure that my team, the team that I'm currently on, the work-life balance is absolutely perfect for me. I couldn't ask for anything better. We don't do on-calls, for example. A lot of teams do, and that also depends on the kind of system that you're maintaining. So if you're doing something super critical like Google search, you're probably gonna have on-call, but I currently don't have on-call at all, so I never really get called outside of work. The atmosphere in my team is very relaxed, very chill. Of course, we work hard. Our product managers seem to be very happy with our work, but the thing is, no one seems stressed. I am not stressed. Okay, that's not true. I am sometimes stressed, but I mean, it's not a perpetual state. You're always gonna have moments where you're stressed, where it's difficult, where something's going wrong, where you have to work extra time. That happens. I think that's more or less unavoidable, but the thing is, it's not a status quo. It's not how it is always. I don't have to stay after 6 o'clock and work until 10 every day. I don't have to wake up super early. I don't have to get in the middle of the night to fix stuff, and I like it that way. Sometimes I do work overtime. No one asks me to, by the way. On the team that I'm currently in Bloomberg, I've never been asked to stay after work and work extra. Whenever I do it is because I'm close to finishing or fixing something and I just can't let it go, and that's happened. Or if I know that I'm gonna be traveling or going on a holiday and there's some piece of work that I'm working on before that, I like to finish those things before I travel and go away for like a week or two, because after coming back I've already lost the context. It's difficult. So these are the situations where I've stayed to work late, but no one's ever asked me to do that. If anything, I've had people ask me why I'm doing committed at 1 AM. That's not the culture of my team, and that allows me to have a good work-life balance. There are other companies, and I'm sure other teams, where that's not the case. I know a lot of people have on-calls, emergencies all the time. For some people, that's exciting. There are people who love working under pressure. There are people who love working in a very stressful environment. I know it sounds silly, but some people thrive off of that, and that's absolutely fine. I've been in teams where everything is a mess and things are constantly constantly stressful. I wasn't feeling happy. I wasn't feeling like my work-life balance is good, but that's why I didn't return after my internships. If you happen to be in a team where you're working too much and you have to constantly stay like extra hours and that makes you miserable, you can switch, and I think you should, because for software engineering there's so many options out there. If there's a company that's not good for you, you can always find something else. I can't promise you that work-life balance is gonna be great in every team. It doesn't work like that, and I think that's the same for every industry. It's not just software engineering. If things are so stressful that you go off work but you still go home and the only thing you think about is your work and how something's broken or how you need to fix something, that's still not good work-life balance, because work-life balance is not just about the hours you're literally working, but also about your general well-being. And if your work is so stressful that it stresses you out even when you're off the clock, then that's still not a good position to be in. You can switch and you should find something else, because you're gonna find a job that's more suited for you. I know there are people who do 60 hours a week and take pride in that. If that's what makes them happy, then that's fine. And if that's something that makes you happy, if you don't want a chill work, if you want to be thrilled and excited all the time, you can find that as well, provided that you find the right team for you. Software engineering definitely allows you to have a really good work-life balance. The next thing I'm going to mention are some tips on how to achieve good work-life balance. At the end of the day, I don't have that much experience. I graduated last summer, so I don't want to pretend I'm an expert here. But the first thing is clearly find the right job for you. Find the right team, find the right culture. If you're unhappy somewhere, switch teams, switch something else, but be honest with yourself as well. If you're somewhere where people are constantly stressed and you have to work from 8 till, I don't know, 10 o'clock every day, don't be afraid to just say that that's not what you want and to switch, because if you don't, things are not going to change. The second thing is try to be productive in your actual work time. I think that's kind of obvious, but still, not all days are going to be super productive. Some days you're more tired, some days you're more distracted, and then other days you're like on fire. Try to spend your workday actually working as much as possible. Take little breaks, that helps, and that way whenever you finish 5-6 o'clock, you can log off with clear conscience and you don't have to constantly make up for it. I've had days where I'm slacking a bit and then I stay until, for example, 8 o'clock, but that's not because it's the company's fault or my team's fault. It's because I haven't been as productive, because God knows what. What I find really helpful is starting as early as possible and finishing as early as possible. My stand-up is at 10:30, so if I start work at 10:30, which I could do if I wanted to, that means I have to finish at 7:30. So I'm not gonna wake up early enough to do something before work, and after work when it's 7:30 and I'm just finishing and I still need to do my groceries, still need to eat dinner, probably exercise, I don't have a big enough chunk of time to do anything else apart from the chores and the things that I need to do to stay alive. That's probably not applicable for everyone. I know there are people who can get up at 5, do a million things and start work at 10. I'm not that type of person. If it doesn't work for you as well, I would recommend trying to start work at around 8 or 8:30. When you work from home, it's easier. You don't have to commute and you don't have to get ready. If you start at 8, for example, you're gonna finish at 5, and from 5 until midnight you have a lot of time. At least for me it makes a big difference. Ideally, if I could start at 7 and finish at 4, oh my god, a dream. I'm still working on my sleeping schedule. The last tip I have is compartmentalizing. When you finish work, stop thinking about work. Put the work thoughts in a box and put them away and enjoy whatever you're doing after that. If you think about work all the time, it's not gonna feel like you have finished work. It's gonna feel like you're working all the time. Be present in whatever you're doing in that moment, because what's the point of doing something if you're gonna be thinking about something else? You're not doing the other thing, but you're also not actually fully doing whatever you're doing. I guess the last thing is don't underestimate the power of not doing anything. I am very guilty of that. Sometimes I try to do too many things. I try to do something all the time. It's great, but you burn out. You can burn out even from hobbies. You do need a bit of time where you're just not doing anything and you're not trying to do anything. And I think that's such a valuable time for you to properly recharge. Oftentimes I just wanna not do anything and not interact with anyone. So I guess these are my thoughts, tips, opinions on the topic. To sum up, work-life balance extremely important in my opinion. Spending time with your family extremely important, and doing things that are not just coding, like go outside, enjoy life, do something else, go to a dance class, draw, I don't know, make a movie, watch a movie. There's so many things that you could be doing. Programming is amazing, it's great, but try other things. There's more to life than programming. And if you enjoy your life outside of work and if you don't want to do programming 24/7, that doesn't make you a bad programmer, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Software engineering can have this culture of, oh, you have to be coding all the time 24/7, otherwise you're not doing it right. No, I don't agree with that. If that's something that you want to do, go for it. But if you want to enjoy other things as well, that still doesn't mean you're a worse programmer. You don't need to be coding 24/7 to be considered a programmer or a real software engineer. That's a hill I'm willing to die on. Let me know what your thoughts are, but these are mine. Anyway, this is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you tomorrow.